All right. I'd like to call this meeting of the Plaquemines Parish Council to order at 5:41 p.m. All right, machines are open for roll call, please.
Verbal, yes.
Please let the record reflect that all members are present. Council members Bartholomew and Roussel and LaFrance are just in the back room. They should be here in a moment. Or not? Okay. Moving forward to the executive session.
There is none, Mr. Chairman.
All right, proclamations.
There is none, Mr. Chairman.
All right, status report by the parish president.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I really don't have much to report, but the only thing I can report is the updates of what's happened of our system being compromised. As you know, since Monday, our system was compromised. We have been shut down. We no longer have phone service or internet service throughout the parish. And we are diligently working on that. The state police has been alerted. The task force is down here working night and day. I can't really give much update because it fluctuates from daily. But I can tell you, we were successfully able to transmit payroll last night. So everyone will be compensated on their paycheck. Which payroll day is actually tomorrow. So that was one bright spot in a dark time, but all I can tell you is we don't have a timetable when it will be up. What I can tell you though, we are working diligently to get it back up, and so that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kirk. Any questions? All right, audience, none. All right. Moving forward, please.
Agenda item 4A, update by charter directors.
Don't know.
And on that note, Mr. Chairman, there is no update from the directors because there was no internet and no service. But
Certainly.
I can tell you two of my directors are out on vacation also. Not on vacation, but out today. But if there's any questions, we'll try to answer.
I have two items. An individual is trying to get a food truck permitted. Which director should I discuss with? Because it's a little bit more complicated item than just a standard
I
permit.
believe that falls under the permit office, under Director Epley.
Okay, got it. All right, and another one is individuals looking to use the Port Sulphur Civic Center just downstairs. Who should I speak with about that? Is it you, Mrs. Taylor?
For the building itself?
Just downstairs, just to get out of the sunshine.
Still is considered the building. That would fall under Mr. Epley too.
Okay, got it. All right. Thank you very much.
Oh, I was just listening.
Oh, Mr. LaFrance, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Helmer, could you please elaborate on where we at with the Susie Bayou project?
We are currently in the land management part of it, getting permission slips and agreements for right of entries to dispose of the spoil and placement. Once that is complete, the bid will go out.
Projected time before the bids will go out? How long you think that?
30 days.
30 days? You know, we've been working on this project
Yes, sir.
for about 4 years. Okay. Just want to let the people know.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And I did talk to Mr. Troy, so.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Bartholomew.
Yes. My dear friend, Mr. John Helmer, would you comment on the culverts, please, on the back levee from Phoenix to Bohemia?
Yes, sir. The culverts have all been cleared and cleaned. They are pending inspections. Once the inspections are complete by the Corps and the approvals given, they will cement them permanently closed. That should happen this project should wrap up within 6 weeks.
Want me to do them?
All right, through my conversation talking with them, it has been approved. Okay, so been dealing this for 10 years. That's why I wanted you to say something.
Yes, sir.
We were out of the federal levee system.
Correct.
And once this is really completed, because the Corps approved it, they will be reinstated us the back levy into the federal system.
That's correct. There will
Because I
be
just
no
want-
more reevaluations every 5 years. This will
Right.
put us permanently back into that system.
Just want to let you know how much I appreciate you. In 10 years, nobody could do it. You did it in 3.
Thank you.
And I just want to thank you for that because it means a lot to the people on the East Bank because we need that. And also that's put us in line whenever it comes some funding to elevate that levy, we can fall right in line.
Yes.
And all the other objectives are met. So I want to thank you for that.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. It looks like moving down the agenda, bids and advertisements, 5A has been withdrawn. 6, beer and liquor licenses, please cue in if you have any.
I can't cue in, but I have some.
Please go ahead.
Hall Real Estate Management, Old Cellar Bar, 8480 Highway 23, Suite 1. Bromart Supermarkets, 7902 Highway 23. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Any others?
Yeah, I have two.
Oh, Commissioner Gui?
I have one for Gerardo Ortiz, the Bell Chase Cafe at 8475 Highway 23. That's an alcohol beverage application. And I also have a special event application for the OLPH Fair, which will be held September 30th through October 2nd of this year. That's what I have.
Thank you. All right, any others?
I have one.
Okay.
Okay. This is for Corey Piquet Senior, 2925 English Turn Road, Bracewell, Louisiana, zip 70044. The name of the organization is Big C's Catering. And they want to have a fishing rodeo as a fundraiser. And they want to do it at the, one address is 15535 Highway 15, Bracewell, Louisiana. I'm assuming that is the Percy Griffin, the park, the event park. It doesn't say it, but I'm assuming that's what that is.
Okay. Are there any others? Commissioner Bartholomew, would you like to offer?
I do.
Offered by Bartholomew, seconded by Gui. Machines are open.
Verbal, yes.
All are in favor of the alcohol permits. Up next, number 7, building permits.
7 has been deferred. 7B has been deferred.
Okay.
Introductions of ordinances and resolutions. The following ordinances are being offered by Councilmember Kognovich. An ordinance to amend the 2022 manpower structure and operating expenditure budgets and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a donation for the Homeland Security Emergency Preparedness Department and to amend the general fund 2022 operating revenue and expenditure budgets, Homeland Security Emergency Preparedness Department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. The following ordinances are being offered by Councilmember Gui. An ordinance to amend the 2022 General Fund Operating Expenditure Budget, Permits, Planning and Zoning Department, and Flood Control General Department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to approve a new pay plan and classification schedule adopted by the Civil Service Commission on August 4th, 2022, to be effective 30 days after approval by the Plaquemines Parish Council or on a date set by the Plaquemines Parish Council, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. That's all the introductions I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you very much. I would like us to move over to item 11K, please. This is a presentation by Ms. Cindy Wers about FEMA hazard mitigation and other FEMA programs, sponsored by LaFrance.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Welcome. We appreciate you being here.
I'm very happy to be here. Good evening. I've been told to hurry because the last ferry leaves at 7. So we're going to jump on it. Yeah, exactly. You're all going to leave.
If you bring us money, take your time.
You know what? I left my checkbook in my other purse. But good evening. Thank you for giving me the time to be here. My name is Cindy Wers. I am with FEMA Region 6 in Denton, Texas. I'm a permanent full-time employee there, and I'll explain why that's important here in just a minute. But I do community education and outreach, and I'm here to talk with you and ask for your help. We are trying to get the word out about mitigation, and specifically, we are trying to get it out to communities who are less knowledgeable than you are yourselves. You guys have been through disasters. You're very familiar here in Plaquemines Parish, and you know how the mitigation program works. So what I'm looking for is help getting to Grand Bayou, Burris, and Ironton to do a presentation for them to show them what mitigation programs are available, and then to listen to them to see what their concerns are. And then I am their point of contact for them to reach back to, not just in 60 days, but since I work full-time at FEMA, and that's my job is outreach, I can hook them up with subject matter experts. So what I want to show you here briefly is a presentation. This is the short version. Let's see if I can get it to work. Technology is grand. Is it up?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Let me, beginning. Oh, perfect. So basically, this just walks through a little bit about FEMA, who we are and what we do. This is our mission statement, helping people before, during, and after disaster. Then I basically go into a little bit of history, talking about how FEMA was created in 1979 by an executive order signed by Jimmy Carter, and then it became a part of DHS in 2003. I talk a little bit about what it's made up of. We have 10 regions throughout the United States, and the headquarters are in Washington, D.C. We are currently in Region 6, who overlooks operations in Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and New Mexico. And that we employ 20,000 people nationwide, but we can swell up to 50,000 after a time of disaster. And that we're governed by a strategic plan. I've heard a lot about plans tonight. I've learned a lot. But what we're trying to do is our strategic plan is trying to remove barriers from communities accessing our programs. We want to make them simpler, easier, because we want them to be a part of, we want them to participate in the programs. And if we increase the community outcomes, the whole community wins. So we define it as all levels of government, individuals and families, businesses, faith-based and community organizations, nonprofit groups, schools and academia, and media outlets. All of us together working makes things better. So then we talk a little bit about mitigation, or about what FEMA divisions there are. There's response, recovery, mitigation, and preparedness. I'm sure you're familiar with all of these, but some of the communities may not be. And so we have here the cycle of disaster, and then we go into a little bit into response, that we coordinate with other programs and agencies, with state and local and tribal officials, and that there are two types of declarations. There's an emergency declaration. When Hurricane Ida was approaching the coast, the president signed an emergency declaration. This opened up certain funding streams, and then once it made landfall, there was a major disaster declaration. This opened up the individual assistance programs and the public assistance programs, as well as mitigation. Then we move on to the recovery programs. And so, like I said, the individual assistance branch this is what you see when you see 1-800-621-FEMA. This is who they're calling. They're calling in to get assistance with home repairs, rental assistance. And these are for the individual homeowners and renters. And then you have the public assistance branch, which you may be more familiar with at the level of government that you are in. It's available after disasters. If there is a category C through G, will help with infrastructure and building assistance for damaged buildings. Then we talk a little bit about interagency recovery coordination. This is the mission of IRC is to further the objectives of the National Disaster Recovery Framework. It coordinates interagency support for timely, effective, and integrated disaster recovery. Yes, I know I read that slide, but I wanted to get it right. The components are economic recovery, health and social services, housing, infrastructure systems, natural and cultural resources, community planning, and capacity building. These are the folks that come in this is the long-term recovery committees. You may remember those from years ago, but this is the new version. They can come in with expertise. They can come in with links to other agencies, federal agencies. Sometimes they can even bring in money to meet unmet needs for the community. And then you have mitigation and the preparedness division. So mitigation is acting now to reduce future risk. We work with individuals, communities, state, local leaders such as yourself, all in an effort to talk about how reducing risk now will benefit every community. And we're going to talk more about that later. And then national preparedness, what they do every day is preparing communities and individuals for disasters, being ready and making a plan now. So we're going to take away everything and just focus on mitigation. When I do this presentation for the communities, I can tailor it as needed, and I don't talk as fast, just so you know. But I'm trying to meet that 7 o'clock ferry. I don't want anybody to get left behind. So mitigation is defined by FEMA as sustained actions to reduce or eliminate long-term risks to life and property from natural or man-made hazards. In disaster world, mitigation is used in a lot of different ways by different agencies. So we wanted to be sure that communities understand this is what FEMA defines it as. We also wanted to be sure that everyone understands they're already mitigators. You mitigate every day when you put on a seatbelt and you get in your car. It's not going to prevent a car accident, but it may reduce the likelihood of you getting hurt. Mitigation actions are things you do every day that you don't realize are mitigation. So it makes it accessible. It makes it user-friendly. We talk a little bit about this study that was done, and it shows that for every dollar spent on a mitigation project or action, you can save up to 6. So investing now means saving in the future. Sometimes it's a hard sell. And so then we break down what mitigation looks like in the field. And the whole point of this at this time, we know that Ida we're almost a year anniversary, but we're getting ready for this hurricane season. If we familiarize them with what to expect, and God forbid there does come a hurricane, then we're starting on the right foot. We have things in place that we can help them with. So these are the programs of the Hazard Mitigation Branch. Community education and outreach. This is what I do. You will find community education and outreach in disaster recovery centers, in special events like the fair that you just talked about having a permit for, or in big box stores. It's about providing educational materials, educational information, listening to concerns, and directing them to the right places, including giving them information on flood insurance. Then we have floodplain management and insurance. These folks provide technical assistance to state and local governments, land usage inside of a floodplain, and even provide guidance on how to write ordinances. Because we know that the floods are the #1 common most natural disaster, we also know it's the most expensive. What you may not know is that over 40% of our claims for on the National Flood Insurance Program come from outside the special flood hazard area. So that whole, oh, well, I don't live in a special flood hazard area, I don't need flood insurance, doesn't really hold true. If it can rain, it can flood. And that's one of the things that we all talk about, community education and outreach as well as floodplain management. Flood insurance is an investment. Then we have hazards and performance analysis. This may be something you're familiar with if you've seen a flood insurance rate map. These are the folks that do that. They provide the technical assistance to communities as well to identify mitigation opportunities. They look at formerly mitigated properties and see how they performed. And they actually empower and encourage higher building standards. They've even done loss avoidance studies. I'm not sure if Plaquemines Parish has ever been a part of one of those, but basically it's looking at properties to see how they've performed so that they'll know better in the future what to do. So we look at mitigation successes and failures, and we also look at newer versus older structures. We're also going to talk to the community about disaster grants. This is the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. You may have worked with Hilda Lott. Miss Hilda is how I got to you all, along with Miss Toops. Thank you very much, Miss Toops. Appreciate that. But that's how I got to you. She administers for Plaquemines Parish the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. This is the key program for FEMA that gets grant money out to local officials. But folks at the local level may not know how to use it, may not know how to access it, who to talk to, where to go, what kind of projects are available. So that's the whole point. We want to be able to fill in those gaps and get them that information. So the thing about the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program is the state decides the priorities. So we know in Louisiana flooding is a big issue. But we also know that you've had large winter storms and tornadoes come through. And so while those may be happening now, the state may determine that flooding is the most important natural disaster to address. So after a tornado, they may not want to put in safe rooms. They may want to do a drainage project. But they determine the priorities, and then it goes down from there. Grants may be awarded to eligible applicants, but they cannot be awarded to individual applicants. This is a very key important thing to know. You, as a parish, may determine that a project you want to do is elevation or reconstruction. So the community members waiting on the ferry might want to apply to have their home elevated or reconstructed. But as a community leader, if you don't know that, you waste a lot of time spinning your wheels trying to find someone who can answer that question. So that is one of the purposes of this presentation for those communities I mentioned earlier. So that brings us back to the org chart. So the community education and outreach, floodplain management and insurance, hazards and performance analysis, and grants and planning. So what this slide shows you that you may not realize is that we're all interconnected. And when we're in the field, we're talking to each other. Like I said, I work full-time in Denton. I'm currently deployed to Hurricane Ida and have been since the beginning. But I also stay in touch with my counterparts back at region and those in the field, and I'm able to find information out on various programs and things that the communities have brought to my attention. We also have some resources. These were developed by Community Education and Outreach. These links are live now. These are web links. On these pages, constituents or residents can find information on hiring a contractor, how to contact us. We actually have a mitigation helpline. They can find anything. Right now, it's even set up for tornado because I changed it up once we had that tornado in what? No, it wasn't St. Bernard. It was up near New Orleans. Araby. That one, not too long ago. I was actually in New Orleans when that happened. All my family were like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm fine." And then we have additional resources for the communities themselves. This is a good one for you all to look at. It's the flood recovery portfolio. It says enter your name to view. This is just so you can get on the platform. We don't record that. You don't need your email address, something like that. And then, well, there we go. So grants for homeowners, I said homeowners can't apply directly for grants through HMGP, Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, but they can learn what they need to bring to the table. So you can't just show up and say, I want to be elevated. Well, we might need more information. We might need, do you have NFIP? Do you have proof of coverage? Do you have homeowners insurance? What kind of information do you need to bring to the table? And then there's a resource for grants for communities. Then we go over the National Flood Insurance Program participation list, and then the Disaster Recovery Center list. This is a good one to put on your website, so that in the event there is a disaster, this webpage is updated. The resident can plug in their zip code and find a help center near them. So this is when we put the question to them as if they're putting it to us. What's in it for me? So what's in it for the community? Well, this is program support. This is your reach back. You know, you can get one-on-one information and assistance from subject matter experts during disaster and even after disaster, during disaster and even non-disaster times. The whole goal is, did I say something funny?
You're talking about the flood.
Yeah. The flood? The flood. Okay. I wanted to make sure I wasn't cracking you up. I mean,
No, you're
just like
fine.
lipstick on my teeth or
No,
my
you
hair
good.
sticking up. I'm all about it. I think it's great. But the whole idea is to take this presentation to those communities that don't have any experience or have experience, but it's not been very positive, and give them a positive feeling about how to access mitigation-specific programs. So everything's gonna go through Ms. Toops. I'm gonna send everything. I'm gonna send you the actual presentation we're gonna give to the communities. It's a bit longer, it's more involved, but it'll give you an idea of what we're talking about. And then I wanted you'll have my number, so you're feel free to reach out to me as well. This is the helpline I mentioned earlier. Communities and residents can call us at 833 FEMA for us. We're hoping to change the mindset, so you call the 1-800-621 FEMA number to register, and then to repair and rebuild safer, stronger, you call 833 FEMA for us. And we also have an email address specific to the state of Louisiana, FEMA-LA-MIT@fema.dhs.gov. This is a great asset for you to put on your webpage as well, because we can filter questions and get them off to the subject matter experts as appropriate. And with that, that's all I have. Do you guys have any questions for me? I tried to do that really fast.
Thank you for your time, Ms. Wers. I've got a few, but there's quite a queue here. Commissioner Russo.
Yes, ma'am. When we have floods and FEMA comes and, addresses those issues and spends the money, do the flood premiums that we pay for flood insurance go into a pool that are used for instance, fires, earthquakes, when FEMA responds to those events?
So you're talking like, is it a general fund?
Yes.
Kind of a thing?
Like the
I
FEMA.
could answer that, but I would be guessing, and I don't want to guess for you. So I do not believe so, but let me get someone who can answer that question, who's a subject matter expert.
Okay. My concern about flood insurance has been for many years about, when FEMA responds, they tend to spend a great deal of money on an event. And when the rates go up, we always hear, well, FEMA spent all this money and now we're paying on the debt and we're paying the interest and everything. No one ever addresses the other side of the equation, the expenditures that FEMA makes. And I've used this as an example for many years. So you want to say something?
No, I want you to finish, and then I'm going to.
Because, the premiums are based on supposed actuarials, right? Now we're going to risk rating 2.0 and all of that stuff. But has anybody really addressed how FEMA spends the funds on the other side of the equation to try to make it more efficient so we don't have to pay such high premiums? Because, my experience has been, the local government's paying, and I'm using the Katrina example, which I use all the time. The local government's paying $15, $16 a cubic yard to remove debris and bring it up to 15 miles. And the federal government, through the Corps, who's tasked with debris removal and so forth, paying $55 and $60 a cubic yard for the same thing, because they layer these contractors on top of each other. And so everybody's taking a piece of the pie, but at the end of the day, it goes against the federal government's pool of money that we're talking about, and we are asked as constituents to pay the actuarial cost.
Right. Okay, so I think you're talking about two things there. So for flood insurance, it, up until risk rating 2.0, well, actually, it started back with bigger waters. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes.
Then it went to Hafaya, and now it's risk rating 2.0. Flood insurance is its own entity. So the big money that you see get put on the street right after disasters from the Presidential Disaster Relief Fund. It's a congressional pot of money. So as far as I know, and I will get clarification, that flood insurance money is strictly from premiums. So with risk rating 2.0 going actuarial, those subsidies that had been in place prior to the bigger waters and the Hafaya are coming off. But my understanding is only at 18% a year. That's still a lot, but they're not borrowing against, they're using the Presidential Disaster Relief.
Right, but my question really is that those premiums that are going into that pool, for instance, are they limited to paying, like a household claim? Or do they do the public assistance with the debris removal and all of those things, which is where the real expenditure goes in local governments?
I will find out.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, please don't be sorry. I'm an outreacher person, not a subject matter expert, but that's what I have. I have the access to the people that know the answers to the questions.
Good. When are our rates going down? Ask that one.
Do what's that? What do you say?
I said, ask when our rates are going to stabilize or go down.
I understand. I have flood insurance myself. It makes me sweat.
Commissioner Newberry.
Yeah, I think you answered the question. I was, Kirk, do we have anything on our website right now that's related to FEMA, related questions? She said that she's going to give you all the information to make sure this is put on the PPG website.
When we can get to the website.
Yeah, I understand it's down, but do you know if we
We put
previously
up a-
had something? So I just wanted to make sure that because we, the parish we live in, this affects a lot of people, so I just want to make sure.
We can make a link to that. too.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, great. And like I say, I'll send everything to Ms. Toops and she'll distribute it to you. And the same with the question, Mr. Roussel, I will make sure she gets the answer and sends it to you.
All right, Commissioner.
You can have my address, but I don't think you want me to have yours.
You have mine.
Okay.
You have my cell phone, 504
Ooh, write it down.
8266.
Write it down. No, it's okay.
It's
We'll
public
get you,
knowledge.
we'll get you squared away. I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Chairman.
No, it's okay. Councilmember Bartholomew.
Yes. I have some constituents that have some issues, and I kind of got involved to try to help them out, brought them to the site where they need to talk to the representative to seek assistance. And these people were 80 years old, mid-80s. And they had a hole in their roof, their trailers and that kind of stuff. And they told them to submit this, submit that. Then they submitted all the paperwork, and they still didn't receive any assistance. And they're still living in the trailer. And I'm wondering what can be done to accommodate those people. I even called the Homeland Security of Plaquemines,
Right.
and the attorneys gave us a number. We called, and still nothing took place.
Okay. I will give everyone my card so you'll have it. And
I mean, is it still viable that they still can get some kind of assistance with that?
I can't answer that because that's a different program for mitigation. But
Oh, okay.
again, I know the people. I can find the person that can at least answer the question.
Yeah, you know who.
They're in the individual assistance program, but I mean, I can, if you could give me the information, all I need is their name and address. I don't need their
Okay.
claim number or anything like that.
Well, I don't have it with me, but if you give me your number, I will
Yeah.
call you with it. But that's a serious problem for me.
Yeah.
Just
And we run into that. So the mitigation helpline, we get a large number of the calls that we get are based on individual assistance questions. And so we parlay that into talking about mitigation after we get them hooked up with the right people. Now, can I guarantee that it'll be the answer you want? No. But I can certainly check on the case and see what I can find out.
a whole new home, mobile home.
Yeah, a temporary housing unit, yeah. It happens.
I just texted her. She'll text me back.
Well, I'll get you my card and you get in touch with me and we'll work it out. You bet.
Commissioner LaFrance?
Yes. I want to thank you for your presentation, and anytime you are ready to meet with those communities, I'll be happy to set it up.
Great. I've got your card,
You have my card.
and I will be contacting you shortly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Got it. All right. I'm next. Ms. Wurst, thank you so much again for your time. I really appreciate it. I have some concerns about flood risk 2.0. And what is effectively happening is blue-collar residents are being forced off of the coast. The new base flood elevations are almost comically high. I'm talking like when my home is 51% damaged, I'm going to have to rebuild it 19 feet above the ground level. And so what's happening is we're already seeing issues with domestic abuse because people are being forced to stay in on very not good situations, right? So, for instance, one of my constituents was able to purchase a mobile home but could not physically move it to a new place, right, because of these new rules. And we're wondering if there could be any sort of relief because we're already starting to see social consequences of these policy decisions that were not made at a local level.
I can't answer that, but I can talk to our regional flood insurance liaison and get him to talk with you about that, because he's going to have more details on the program.
Got it. In the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Ida and beyond, when I tried to apply for any sort of benefits to go through this process, alongside my constituency, I noticed that you're not able to do this through a smartphone. And after a hurricane, I mean, then sometimes it's all you got. There's no power. You're in your car. You're trying to, go through this process, right? And it's just not. It didn't seem possible.
Did you try the app, the FEMA app?
I admittedly did not try the FEMA app, but
You went to disasterassistance.gov. I guess is that how you tried to do it?
certainly, and you can get somewhat through the process, but you
But not
couldn't-
all the way.
No, not at all.
All right, let me find out about that. That's interesting. I didn't know that was a problem.
Got it. And, we're happy to do some legwork to get some meetings set up in some of these at-risk communities for you. That's no problem at all.
Great.
Just let us know when you may be back in town, and we could make sure that's there and there's tray sandwiches and such.
Very good. I can do that.
Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Are there any questions from the audience? All right. Thank you again for your time. We appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Are you ready to move on, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, we're back on item 9.
Yes, sir. 9, ordinances and resolutions on second reading and final passage. A, ordinances and public hearings pursuant to Article 6, Section 6.01E of the Plaquemines Parish Charter. Item number 1, an ordinance to levy millages on the 2022 tax roll on all property subject to taxation by Plaquemines Parish government and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
I'll offer in lieu of Councilmember Kognovich. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Seconded by Gui? Yep. All right, are there any questions about this particular item?
It's just a renewal?
Standard stuff.
Yes, sir. This is nothing new, and it's adopting the same rates that were adopted last year. We're at the authorized max.
All right. Call a question?
Yes, sir.
Are there any comments from the public?
Yeah.
All right, hearing none, open for vote.
Was there public comment?
Yeah. No? Okay.
Verbal, yes.
All right, the vote passes with all in favor.
9B.
Oh, it's deferred.
Deferred. 9C, an ordinance to amend the 2022 Road Maintenance Fund operating expenditure budget, road maintenance, public right-of-way department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
All right, I'll offer this one on behalf of Kognovich as well. Is there a second? All right, seconded by Russo. Are there any questions about this particular item?
What is it for?
It's road maintenance. It's an amendment for the road maintenance fund.
$2,000.
It was a grant we received in 2019, 2020, and this is the balance of that grant.
$2,000.
Are there any questions about this particular item? Oh, John, please, come to the microphone and state your name and address. Welcome, good to see you.
Bartol John Telenis is Jr., 30582 Highway 23, Buras, Louisiana. I don't know if I'm talking out of turn. Is this for Parish Highway 11 or what is it?
So this is for small tools and equipment general. It's a grant for $2,343.57.
Okay, I might be talking out of turn. I was just thought it was, might have been for Highway 11 if y'all was talking about that or anything.
God knows we need it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
definitely need to come in.
Yeah.
I just want to say something. I'm going to get out of y'all hair.
Yeah. No, I
From emergency responder, y'all know where I was a Clackamas Parish Fire Department to 3 weeks ago. We got to do something about that road under the aspect of, as emergency responder coming from me, if I flip that truck, and I almost did a couple times going to a scene, we got to do something terribly about that because it's a nightmare. And I don't know, I'm like I said, I don't know, we're talking out of turn. I'm just learning about all this right now. So, but coming from my point of view, driving that emergency vehicle, trying to get to save anybody's family, you know how passionate I am about that? And something needs to be done some kind of way.
I fully agree with you, John. At every single one of these meetings, I ask.
Y'all been trying to do something. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, it's all good. At every single one of these meetings, I ask for some of the low-hanging fruit to be picked here, especially road shaving, right? You know, we don't have any money to fill a pothole in, but we do have the machine that can melt down these high spots.
Okay.
Every single time, oh, I'll look into it, you know, and so that's all I get.
Right.
You know, we have like a $36 million budget up here. We don't have any for road maintenance this year.
Okay.
Last year was $300,000. There's over 100 miles of parish-owned highways here.
Right,
It
correct.
just, it doesn't
Yeah,
make
that's what
sense.
I'm saying. I'm trying to
And there needs
understand all this. That's
to be
what-
almost like a complete reorganization about how we do any sort of budgeting here. But I mean, this isn't an agenda item, but I fully
Yeah, I know
agree
you
with
mentioned it
you.
before. I'm understanding.
Yeah.
You mentioned about the Highway 4 and Highbo has before. It's just, I wish we could come to a term, some kind of term we can look into very heavily about this problem. Because you flip that I flipped that truck with 3,000 gallons of water, then we got a major problem. The house is burning down.
Can I call point of order? We need to talk about what's on hand right now.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Ms. Newberry.
That's
I just was
okay.
clarifying. I didn't know.
We
what
just
was-
following the rules, that's all.
Okay, no
And-
problem.
and-
Thank y'all very much. I'll get to y'all later.
And John, I just, you know, I do prefer to give people a little bit of room to express their concerns up here. And even though it's not an agenda item, I don't want to just shut it down.
Road maintenance, and I just was say something about that. I know what it was
Yeah.
for. I apologize.
But I appreciate you putting the flag up about
Okay.
it because it's
All right, thanks a
it's
lot.
good to hear it from other people too. Thank you. All right. Okay, so are there any other questions from the public on this particular item? Okay. All right. Hearing none, the machine is open.
Verbal, yes.
All right. All in favor of the $2,300 grant? Moving on to item D.
Item D, an ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvements plan for the renovations, animal shelter project, and the 2022 general fund revenue budget, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
This is moving miscellaneous.
Offer.
Oh,
Are we running a meeting what are we doing? I have to offer it. It's my legislation.
all right.
This is the rules.
Okay.
Just follow the rules. Offer.
Second.
I'll yield to you to explain what it is.
I'm just trying to efficiently dispense with the meeting, but now we've wasted half a minute on this.
Great job thus far.
All right. Bo offers. Would anybody like to second this?
It's already been seconded.
All right, seconded by Arborough. There's a $5,000 grant, I'm sorry, $5,000 being moved over from miscellaneous settlements over to the animal shelter. Are there any questions by the public or by the board? Hearing none, the machine is open.
Verbal, yes.
All are in favor.
9E is deferred. 9F, an ordinance to amend the 2022 general fund manpower structure and operating expenditure budget, interim employee training department, and the flood control general department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Roussel.
Second.
By Roussel, seconded by Arborough.
Yes, this is an interim position to replace an employee that'll be retiring. So that's what this does.
Are there any questions about this item? All right, hearing none, moving forward.
Verbal, yes.
9G, an ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvements plan, drainage, environmental assessment, Medal of Honor Park project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Russo.
So offered.
Second.
All right, this is to move $10,000 to do an environmental assessment for drainage at the Medal of Honor Park. Any questions?
Haven't we done something like this already?
What, 5 years now? This is to do something to try to get the project moving. They can't do it because somebody has raised the issue of possible wetlands or environmental in the ditches.
All right, are there any questions? All right, hearing none.
Verbal, yes.
Councilmembers Roussel and Newberry.
9H, a resolution to appoint replacement members to the Plaquemines Parish Tourist Commission Board and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Blink.
All right. This is to appoint as written, right? Are there any questions about this item? I'd like to offer it. Who would like to second this?
Second.
Seconded by Roussel. Are there any questions about these appointments to the Tourism Commission?
You read the names?
Yeah, I don't know who you are. Who they are?
It's just one member. That's a mistake, sorry, with the S. It's Mr. Donald Valet.
Might want to-
Do we normally
Resume
appoint?
is long enough, isn't it?
They're recommended.
I'm just filling in the blank. I didn't make the decision.
Well, I don't have a fill in the blank. Oh, we don't have a computer.
The recommendations are made by nonprofits to us, and we make the appointments. That's the way the Tourism Commission works.
Are there any questions?
How it works.
No, for the general public, Bob.
Women's Conservancy was the nonprofit.
Who's the nonprofit? Woodland Conservancy. Yes, correct.
I'd like to call question.
Thank you.
Verbal, yes.
Councilmember Roussel.
All right, all in favor?
Congratulations, Don. Tell us about it one day.
9I, a resolution conditionally approving the plan of re-subdivision of a portion of Tract 5E, Section B of Belle Chase Plantation into Cypress Park subdivision, Phase 2C. Phase 2C containing lots 241 through 285, all without cost to Plaquemines Parish government or the Parish of Plaquemines, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Black.
Third.
This item is deferred. I'm assuming we're going to number 11, new business?
Not me. I gotta catch a ferry.
We
I'm
approved the minutes
deferring my
first.
items.
Item 10, approval of the minutes.
Okay.
Like to offer this. Who would like to second? Second by Gui. Machine's open.
Verbal, yes.
Councilmember, oh, never mind. The minutes are adopted by a vote of 8-0.
All right, thank you. New business, 11, A1, introductions to a resolution with it wherein suspension is being sought. Are there any?
There are none.
None. All right. We're going to defer Cognovich's C, District 8 update, Councilmember Blink. Item 1, shaving of Highway 2011. Can we please get some relief? There's an attachment that goes on a Bobcat that can rip the road. If we could pass that off to the fire department, maybe y'all could do it. If we can't seem to get any relief elsewhere. Yeah. There's like 5 or 6 really bad problem spots that we could really get some relief for folks. Can we please get some?
We are addressing them now, Mr. Blank, and we will address them as much as we can, ma'am. And when we do that, we take people off of tractors to do that. So we're gonna do the best we can with what we have.
Okay, all right, I'm going to defer the rest of mine. D, District 1 update, Councilmember Bartholomew.
You on me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the status. Hurricane protection, Breakaway Park. About the floodgate.
Councilmember Bartholomew, can you lower your microphone?
Okay, discussion on the status of the possible floodgate on the railroad track in Breakaway Park. Anything new?
It's still in discussion, Mr.
All right.
Bartholomew. That's what I can say.
I'm just gonna leave it on to keep updated, because people keep asking me, so I'm gonna bring it to the table. All right. Status of the back levee from north from Carnarvon to White Ditch. We have, some of the section has a, gouges in it, like maybe 2 feet. One section of it, and it hasn't been done, and the grass, I don't know if it's been cut this week, but last week it was about 4 feet high back there. And I understand what's going on with the tractors, no cut it, but I'm just saying these are concerns made by the residents. Any updates on that possibly?
We are working on it, Mr.
All righty. Highway 15 South, the highway never was completed. We're still trying to get some funding some kind of way. And I wonder if you ever put it in the state plan, the rural development projects, if you can consider that to be placed in that upcoming year.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Helmer, has about Mardi Gras Pass, where we are with that? You have any new, I think it's still stand as is?
No, sir, everything is as is of right now.
And that is that they're in the process of looking at it.
Right, and with the loss of Mr. Newell, things have been put on
Hold on.
hold. I mean, the
The engineering
Population
department,
Service
yes.
still has the information, but nothing's been pushed forward.
So we need to get somebody else to start working on it, or what?
On a upper level, yes, sir. Not
Not-
locally, we need someone from the state to take hold of it.
Oh, okay. So who we need to talk to?
That would be CPRA. Now, we are
Okay.
working on the Mardi Gras Pass. We do have a program with the Corps of Engineers, which is an experimental program. Which, they are looking at building chevrons on the output side to restore the salinity back to American Bay and out that way.
Okay, great. Appreciate that info. The Point Lahatchie Marine, I want to thank you for making that adjustment on that outlet, the electrical box. Personally, went down there, I appreciate you doing that, taking care of that, because people was very much concerned with that. And they are cutting up some barge or something down there and then getting that off the shipyard. And so we do see that. And I don't know, but we have a leak, a nice water leak down there. I know you don't know about that.
No, I know
just
about the
found
water
out.
leak on 45. We had reported it to Severn Trent. They're trying to get someone out there it's a backflow preventer.
Yeah,
They'll have to repair
but it's
it.
constantly leaking, so I'm
Yes.
sure that water was running through that.
Yes, sir.
That's it. Thank y'all very much. Appreciate the info.
Thank you much, Commissioner Bartholomew. Going down to E, District 7 update, Member LaFrance, defer, all right. Benny, you're up next, District 5.
Defer.
Deferred. G, 6, Commissioner Newberry, deferred. All right, J, Commissioner Arborough, you have something to add about district lines? Okay.
Corey?
Oh, we're on your item.
No, deferred.
All right, deferred. All right, motion to adjourn? Offered by Black, second by LaFrance. All right, thank you all for your time. We really appreciate y'all.
Oh, loved it. Looks like you did outstanding.
All right. All in favor of adjournment?
Oh, yes.
Councilmember Bartholomew? We're gonna do.
I'd like to call this meeting of the Plaquemines Parish Council to close at 6:36 PM. Thank you all very much for coming.